Shalom, shalom. First off, I want to start by giving all the glory, infinite praise, and honor unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rahak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that do rule and teach well. Peace, love, and salutation unto the hopeful elect that is out there pushing his truth in all sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, giving diligence to make your calling of election sure. Shalom. This is your brother Hashah from the Great Millstone Savannah Camp, coming back in the spirit with another lesson. Lord willing, I pray and hope that it's edifying and exhorting. All right. And I wanted to you know, get this article, all right, going into how, basically thermonuclear missiles are eventually going to get shot. All right. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. All right. And we just had Donald Trump threaten Iran with a 48-hour ultimatum that if they didn't, comply to a ceasefire, that he would use nuclear weapons. All right. And on the, basically on the heels of that, you had Russia threaten Iran. I mean, not Iran, Ukraine. All right. And this article is from Express USA, US. All right. It says Russia threatens nuclear strike on Ukraine in 48 hours, wipe cities off the earth. Russia state television has issued a chilling warning that nuclear weapons could be deployed to wipe Ukrainian cities off the face of the earth and eliminate Vladimir Zelensky in his bunker. The alarming threat emerges as Vladimir Putin faces setbacks in the conflict and acknowledges his inability to subdue Ukraine through conventional missiles, drones, and ground forces. All right. And all of this is, basically biblical prophecy. All right. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, our elders and apostles at Great Millstone have, prophesied these things for years. And, we are coming, in their stead. All right, and prophesying the same thing, basically telling you and let you know that thermonuclear missiles are going to, pretty much wipe America off the face of the earth. All right, America is not going to be inhabited after these thermonuclear missiles are fired. Okay. And this is according to the scriptures, it's not according to our own words. All right, it's according to thus saith the Lord. All right, so that being said, this is Joel chapter 2, right? In verse 1, it says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in the holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. And this is what the prophets have been doing, all right? Starting with our elders and the prophet and apostles, man. All right, blowing the trumpet, okay, warning the people, lifting up thy voice like a trumpet. This is what the Lord says, right? Verse 2, it says, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. And when you see those missiles go off, um, it's going to be a lot of ash in the air, a lot of clouds, and it's going to be so much so that so much destruction that it blocks the sun in some areas, right? It says, as the morning spread upon not only that, this is talking about the, metaphorically, how the day is going to be dark and gloomy. All right. Spread upon it says, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and strong, there have not been the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even the years of many generations. Okay. It says a fire, and this is talking about this generation that we're in, man. Okay. It says a fire devoureth before them, and behind them burneth, and behind them a flame burns. This is talking about the thermonuclear missiles, all right, and even the missiles that are being used right now. It says the land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Okay, and this is how it's going to be. Right now you can, pick certain flowers off the ground. When the nukes hits, there's not going to be any crops. All right, crops are going to be poisoned. Right? It says, yeah, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of the chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. This is how these missiles are. Even when they set these missiles up, they set them up in a battle array. All right, they have something called ready position. Okay, it says, before the face, the people shall be much pain. Before their face, the people shall be much pain. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. All right, and this is you know, how that fire is gonna be. When you go into what a thermonuclear missile can do. All right, it's basically a fire or a wave of destruction coming behind the energy that you know is released. Okay, and all this is the will of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. When you go into you get it, Isaiah 54, I think, right? It might be 43, right? Let me get this. I don't see how you can update the Bible, but that's why let's see, Smith, right? Yeah, Isaiah 54 and 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals, that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I have created the waster to destroy. All right. And when they split the atom, I forget Oppenheimer, right? One of the German scientists, he said, I am become the destroyer of wars, of worlds. Okay. But the Lord is the one that has become, he's the controller of death and life, right? So the Lord let him, create that thermonuclear weapon for the purpose of this time, all right, to show forth his power in this time, man, to show how, wicked and perverse this generation is and the people that are leading this generation, right? It says they shall march every one on his way, and they shall not break their ranks, right? Meaning they're gonna hit their targets. They're not gonna be able to be shot down when you go into these hypersonics, right? They're so fast that there's basically what they try to say is there's a 60% chance that they can intercept that missile, but there's little to no chance. It's like shooting a bullet with another bullet. Okay, it's traveling so fast that you can't shoot it down. Okay, so this is what the Lord has brought forth. It says, neither shall one thrust another, they shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. So, the Lord could have it in that day to where even if it does, all right, uh, get intercepted, all right, it could still hit his mark. All right. The Lord might make it so that they can't, even if they do get wounded, right? It says they shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the horses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief, right? And this is how we know that these missiles, this passage is talking about missiles. It says what? The earth shall quake before them, right? If these were just, talking about people, right, which is not talking about people, it's a metaphor, right? Um, but what is going to make the earth quake? All right, those thermonuclear missiles hitting ground zero. All right, it's like basically like a bomb going off. Okay. It says the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars will withdraw their shining. And Yahweh shall utter the voice before his army, for his camp is very great. He is the strong, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Who can abide? All right. And this is what we've been asking the Lord. All right. Who can abide? All right. Who is going to survive these times? Okay. And ultimately those that are seeking Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, all right, that have faith in him and are doing his work, all right, that fear him, all right, that reverence him, and that's the 144,000, the remnant. Okay. Um, this is Second Ezra chapter 7, chapter 16, Salakia. In verse 7, it says, May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. Now, is this talking about an actual arrow? No, it's talking about missiles. All right, you have something called a broken arrow, right? A down missile. It says, the mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire, which is, these missiles are going to be a plague to the earth, all right, and to the people. It says, yeah, because what does it do? You have something called nuclear fallout, nuclear winters, right? That's a plague. It says, a fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? Yahweh shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? Right? I'm gonna skip down to 13. It says, For strong is the right hand that bendeth, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. And this is talking about rockets, missiles being shot from one end of the earth to the other, right? And this is part of the reason why we're at war right now, all right? Because those capabilities scare the wicked, okay? And they want to be the only ones that control that capability, right? Which is all, it's all theater, okay? Because we know that they want to wipe out a certain population, a certain percentage themselves. So they think that them having control is going to, change something, okay? But it's not. It says, Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. A fire is kindled and shall not be put out till they consume the foundation of the earth, right? Right? And we know that America shall never be inhabited again. Um, let's see where that is. I think it's in Isaiah. Might be in Jeremiah. Yep, this is it right here. All right. Jeremiah 50. Uh, I'm gonna start at verse 9. Jeremiah 50 and verse 9. It says, For lo, I will raise up, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. Speaking about Russia, all right, from the north country. Russia is located in the northern hemisphere. Okay. So eventually the Lord is gonna put hooks in their jaws, pursuant to Ezekiel the 38th chapter, right? And they're going to come, them and their allies, up against Russia. All right. And who else? Now that you're seeing in the news that there's contention amongst NATO, right? NATO is going, certain NATO countries are going to shoot missiles on America and Israel too, right? It says, an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array, right? And then we talked about the battle array, the battle ready formation in array against her, and thence from thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall remain in shall return in vain. All right, and this is speaking about the future destruction of Babylon the Great, America. It says, "And the Chaldeans shall be a spoil; all all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, because O ye destroyers of my heritage." And who is that? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom, right? The destroyers of his heritage. "Because ye are grown fat as the heifer of grass and bellows as bulls, your mother shall be sore confounded," right? Talking about the EU, right? Britain. You had the Brexit, which is basically these people unaligning themselves with America. It says, "She that bear you shall be ashamed." Yeah, they're ashamed of you, right? Even when you see these interviews of these people from over there, they think you people in America, are basically Nimrods, or not Nimrods. That's rebellion too, but what they call it, Nimwits, right? Meaning slow, right? It says, "Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert." That's America. "Because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues." You see, verse 14: "Put yourself in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend a bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against Yahweh." All right. So this is what the Lord is going to do in America, man. All right. All these nations are going to come against America and ultimately destroy her with fire, man. All right. This place is going to be, utterly wasted and destroyed, man. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, you know. So, Lord willing, this was edifying and exhorting. I want to end off by giving all the glory, infinite praise and honor unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, and salutation to the hopeful elect that is out there pushing this truth in all sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, giving